Today, we are going to tear apart one of the most common ideas we have about work, the belief that more effort always equals more reward. We're going to explore a principle that flips that idea on its head, showing you how to get so much more done by actually doing a whole lot less. We're all raised with a sense of fairness, right? You put in 10 hours of work, you expect 10 hours worth of results. If you work twice as hard as the person next to you, you should get twice the reward. It just feels right. But what if that entire assumption, the very foundation of how we think about work, is just plain wrong?
So on one side, you have the world as we're taught it exists. It's balanced, it's linear. What you put in, you get out. But on the other side, well, that's reality. And reality is messy. The universe is fundamentally imbalanced. The truth is, some things you do matter way, way more than others. Yeah, the connection between cause and effect, between effort and result, it's not a straight line, not even close. Most of what we do day in and day out is actually pretty low-value stuff. We're drowning in the trivial, feeling busy, but not really getting anywhere. There's a hidden law running the show.
And that law is the 80-20 principle. You might also hear it called the Pareto principle. It's a shockingly simple idea with huge implications. It says that for many things, a minority of your causes, we're talking just 20% of your efforts, are creating the majority of your results, about 80% of them. Just look at that. That tiny little sliver of causes is responsible for that huge chunk of results. It's a massive imbalance. So the secret isn't just to work harder on everything, it's to find that critical 20% and focus on it. If you can do that, well, you can change the entire game. So where did this wild idea even come from? Well, believe it or not, it all started in a garden back in 1897. An Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, noticed something odd. Just 20% of his pea pods were giving him 80% of his peas. Being an economist, he thought, I wonder if this applies elsewhere. He looked at wealth in Italy and boom, same pattern. 20% of the people owned 80% of the land. But it was pretty obscure until 1997, when a book by Richard Koch blew the whole concept up into the mainstream. And the crazy part is, once you start looking for this pattern, you see it literally everywhere. 20% of drivers cause 80% of accidents. 20% of beer drinkers drink 80% of all beer. It even applies to your house. 20% of your carpet gets 80% of the foot traffic. In business, this is huge. 20% of your customers are probably giving you 80% of your profits. It's just everywhere. Okay, so it's a cool pattern, a fascinating theory. But what do you do with it? The real magic happens when you stop just observing it and start using it as a tool. So let's talk about how you can put this to work in your job and in your life. The approach is actually pretty straightforward, but it's revolutionary. First, you have to figure out what your vital few are. What's the 20% of stuff you do that actually produces the big results? Then, and this is the hard part, you have to be ruthless about the other 80%, the trivial many. You either eliminate it, automate it, or give it to someone else to do. And finally, you take all that time and energy you just freed up and you double down on the stuff that really, truly matters. Now, this is where it gets a little provocative. In a business setting, this strategy means you should find that top 20% of customers, the ones giving you 80% of your revenue. And then you basically fire the rest. The ones who take up all your time, complain the most, and pay the least. It's not about being a jerk. It's about reallocating your energy to give your absolute best service to your absolute best customers. And hey, this isn't just about making money. You can use this exact same logic for your own happiness. Think about it. Who are the 20% of people in your life who bring you 80% of your joy? What are the 20% of activities that make you feel the most alive? The goal is to identify those happiness islands, as the source calls them, and then actively engineer your life so you can spend way more time on them. This all leads to a completely different mindset about work and productivity. It's not about better time management. It's about something the source calls lazy intelligence, this relentless focus on being effective, not just being busy. Check out this old matrix used to classify military officers. You've got 4 types, the hardworking and stupid. They just make a mess for everyone else. The hardworking and smart, great, they make solid middle managers. But the top commanders, the true leaders, they were often found in this last box, lazy and smart. Why? Because the lazy but smart person instinctively refuses to do useless work. They're always looking for the shortcut, the point of maximum leverage. They're naturally looking for that 20%. And that's why the whole concept of time management can be a total trap. It often just helps you get more efficient at doing things that don't matter in the first place. The goal isn't to be busy. The goal is to be impactful. It's about having the guts to say no to most things so you can say a powerful yes to the very few things that will actually move the needle. Okay, so if you've been with me so far, get ready. This is where the whole idea goes from interesting to absolutely mind-bending. Because the 80-20 principle isn't a one-and-done thing. It has a twist. The principle is what you'd call fractal. That just means it repeats itself on smaller and smaller scales. So you can take that vital few, 20% of your activities, and then you can apply the 80-20 rule to that group. You can drill down even deeper to find the most powerful of the powerful. So what happens when you take 20% of your top 20%? Well, 20% of 20% is 4%. And that 4%, that's where the real magic is hiding. Think about what this means. It suggests that a tiny, almost insignificant fraction of your effort, just 4%, could be responsible for nearly 2/3 of all your results. That's not just an imbalance, that's a winner-take-all scenario. It's about finding that single, most high-leverage thing you can possibly do and focusing on it relentlessly. So what's the big takeaway here? At the end of the day, the 80-20 principle isn't about working harder. It's actually a permission slip. It's your permission to be lazy. Not sloppy, not apathetic, but strategically lazy. It's about having the wisdom to ignore the 80% of noise so you can pour all your energy into the 20% of signal that truly matters. And if there's one single idea to leave you with, it's this one. Stop trying to do everything. Stop trying to move the whole mountain by yourself. Your real job is to step back, look at the whole mountain, and find that one single loose rock that with just a tiny nudge can start an avalanche of results.